All right, good evening to you from the Storm Alert Center. It looks like we have about 15 people that's joined us this evening. And I'd like to encourage you to hit the share button on your computer and tell people we're live this evening. All right, good evening to you from the Storm Alert Center. It looks like we have I'm going to have to about turn 15 people that's joined us this evening. And I'd like to encourage you to hit the share button on. I've got to turn myself down here that way that tell people we can keep everything going straight here. Sorry about that, but I want to be able to monitor the people that's leaving messages and that may have questions to ask throughout the evening. We do have about 16 people here, and I want to say thank you. It's been a long time since we've had a Facebook Live broadcast. It's been a while since we've had severe weather, but we're here and the numbers are continuing to go up. And I'd like to invite everybody to hit the share button and tell people we're Facebook Live this evening. And I want to kind of give you a little recap of what we're going to be talking about this evening. Of course, back in April 3rd, 1974, was the big tornado outbreak. Of course, today is the anniversary of that. And when we think about that day, that is the day that got me started becoming interested in weather, especially severe thunderstorms and tornadoes and those type of things. That led to me going to the radio station right out of high school to WJRS FM, and I was there for a long time. May of '84 was the first recollection that I can have of doing severe weather. I was there with Jeff Hoover, Welby Hoover, May Hoover, and a lot of people that were there that evening as we did severe weather coverage that day. And that was, again, in May of '84. But April 3rd is always an interesting day for me because I reflect back on it and how it changed my life, as well as the lives of a lot of other people that are involved in the weather broadcasting. It's amazing how many people have been changed by that. Now I'm going to go up here and look. No comments so far, but we've had several people join us. We have 46 people that have chose to be with us this evening, and we're glad to have each one of you to be here tonight. Let's get right down to business. I want to explain something to you. A lot of people, or there's some people, that think maybe that the Storm Alert Center is not, is just kind of a joke. I've gotten some bad emails over the years, and people thinking, well, what do you know about weather? And as I said, there's a lot of people that's much smarter than me, but I do take pride in keeping people updated and informed about weather. And tonight we're going to share some of the things that we use here in the studio to keep people updated, informed, and to know what's going on in the event severe weather. One of the things that we utilize, and something that every home should have, and that is a NOAA weather radio. I know a lot of people, they'll say, well, they aggravate me of a night when I'm trying to sleep. They bother me. They go off for everything that's happening. But the NOAA weather radio is your source for watches and advisories as they're issued by the National Weather Service. Do I think that there's an alternative to that? Absolutely not. Every home needs a NOAA weather radio. And for the most part, you can find them at the Walmart. You can find them on Amazon. A lot of your hardware stores have them, and they're something that's necessary if you're going to be, considering severe weather. You've got to have a NOAA weather radio. And in fact, in my house, I have, let's see, one, two, three. I have 3 radios. They're all programmed. They're all working, and they all go off at the same time when we have severe weather. And that is, again, something that everybody needs. That's a NOAA weather radio. A new device that I have come in contact with, I'd say about 2 years ago, and that is called the Tornado Alert. The Tornado Alert has spawned a lot of interest. People are interested in what this device does, as well as a lot of people are negative about it. And some people call it snake oil. They say that it's a non-working item. There's no way that it can work. But last weekend in Sparta, Tennessee, they had a tornado that comes through there. And a good friend of mine lives there in just before you get to Sparta. And the Tornado Alert gave a 19-minute warning ahead of the National Weather Service for a tornadic situation, and it was confirmed an EF0 touchdown just north of where they live, and that was part of the storm that passed through from McMinnville up to Sparta. It was a 19-minute warning based on the Tornado Alert warning. And let's see, right after I received my first tornado alert, I hadn't had it probably a week, and we had a tornadic thunderstorm in Metcalfe County, and I believe 18 minutes, I believe that's correct, 18 minutes before the Weather Service issued a tornado warning. Now you may think, well, how does this go into play? I mean, how does this why is this important? Well, if you do the math and do the calculations and the history, the National Weather Service warnings are between 50 and 70% false. It's not on their behalf. It's just the fact the technology doesn't allow them to see exactly what's going on here. In fact, they're looking at the radar about 2 miles above the ground. And the last time I checked, I don't think any of us have a home 2 miles above the ground. I'm going to get off of the look away from the camera for just a second, because I want to show you something, and this is something that I failed to mention when I was putting this together, of why that it is important that we have the proper weather instruments and technology in our storm center. And that is because if we look at some of the information, I want to see if I'm able to bring this up, and I'm not sure if I can. I don't think I'm able to bring up my. Nope, I'm not able to bring up my my desktop. But I will show you in just a second. I'm going to try to. if I can get a quick screen cap of this, is how bad the the radar coverage is, and this is from the National Weather Service, and this is some of the information that I've been following over the past couple of 3 years, and I'm able to do this real quickly here, and I will show you what I'm talking about. And while I'm doing that, I want to transition to this to remind you that Joe Brown's Auto Body in Columbia is a good friend of mine and does a lot of sponsorships for me. If you have a situation that you need a tow or maybe auto body repair from a deer, well, Joe Brown is the person that you need to see. And I'm just about ready to show you this other graphic that I intended to put on earlier and simply forgot. And this will show you how bad that the radar coverage is in our area. It's going to take for just a second to do that. And I want to remind you folks that this time of year is the time of year that we can expect to see showers and thunderstorms, and it is that time of year for severe weather. And we should be alert. We should be prepared and aware of what's going on as we make our way into this unsettled time of year. And a lot of people, they think that this is maybe crazy, but I know this to be true. Now, here we go. I'm sorry for the delay. I want to show you this graphic. Now, to a lot of people, it means nothing, but that is an area that has no or very little or poor radar coverage. And if you look at the top, you're seeing Lexington all the way down 127, over as far as about halfway over to Adair County into Columbia, Russell Springs, Monticello, and you could see this gap of radar coverage. And basically, the Weather Service doesn't know what is going on in our area, not because that they're crazy people or that they don't know what they're talking about. They just simply can't grasp it because the radar is shooting too high in the air, and that is prohibiting them from making the right kind of decisions based on a radar beam about 2 miles in the air. This is not to discredit them. This is just a matter of fact. One of the things that we follow too is, and this is something that the Tornado Alert device follows, and that is lightning and electrical activity within the air or within the atmosphere. Now, I have been following this product for almost 3 years. I was doubtful at first, but now I am convinced that it is 95% accurate, and it will warn you if there's a severe thunderstorm or a tornado approaching. And the other part of the good news is that hopefully within the next few days I will get some orders in, and I'm going to start being a dealer here in this area. If you live outside of Russell County, you can contact me. Otherwise, Ace Hardware in Russell Springs have them for sale, and you can go by and see them. But I'm making this available to people outside of Russell County. Now, another thing we use during the severe weather, we have a uh, sophisticated device called the Boltec system, and it can actually detect lightning strikes throughout the area. Typical radar updates anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes, but with this device, it will go right down to the street, and we can tell you exactly where in a particular county that the weather is occurring. This is a new piece of equipment for us, and we're glad to have that as a resource for the Storm Alert Center. Another thing that we use is the Boltec lightning detector, and this is a unique piece of equipment. It will show you what is going on in a particular thunderstorm, if it's a thunderstorm squall line or individual cells. It will detect that up to 75 miles away. So that makes it exceptionally good during severe weather. If the radar systems go down, then we'll know exactly what's going on. The other thing that we take pride in is our radar system, and the radar system that we have, in my opinion, one of the better systems in the area. And I want to show you what this does when we decide to do storm tracking. If we have, let's say we have a thunderstorm that's right at the Greene, say the Greene and Taylor County line, and it's advancing into Adair County. Right there is what we can bring up. We can bring up timelines. And it also has road numbers. So if I want to reference Highway 704 at Fairplay, or Highway 92 at Montpelier, or 80 to 127 in Russell Springs, we have that capability. If the storm is at the edge of Adair County and it's going into Russell County, we also have timelines and locations for there as well. So if a storm is in Montpelier, you say Highway 92, Russell Springs, Creelsboro, Bernard Ridge, Gosser Ridge, all of these things are available. All right, let's see here. We're going to ask if anybody has any questions or anything before we get off from here. Anybody have a question or something they want to ask before we go off for the evening? I know we're getting a few thumbs up this evening. We've had several people tune in. Terry Drake tuned in. Bobby Sexton, hello Blue, glad to have you. Alicia Popplewell, Leah Antle, Aaron Willis. Got a whole bunch of people out there tonight that's tuned in. Kind of a break from the from that old thing that's going around, isn't it? Whew. So anyway, you've got an idea of what we have here in the Storm Alert Weather Center, and how important it is for me to share this with you, because weather's important to me. And as we get into a more unsettled period of more showers and thunderstorms, this becomes a passion, and we try to keep people updated and informed. But I also want to remind you, it doesn't matter what page you follow. Never depend on social media for warnings. Absolutely never depend on that. Could be something happened that we had a bad connection here, and we couldn't get online. Even some of the major TV outlets, they could have a failure. Don't wait for your phone to ding on Facebook to tell you about severe weather. But since nobody has any questions, I think we're going to call it an evening and say thanks everybody for tuning in. It's kind of a last minute setup. I really hadn't planned on doing anything, but we've had a good evening, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. And we will catch you all the next time. Don't forget to practice social distancing. And if you plan on getting together and doing things you shouldn't be doing, remember Andy says you can't be doing that. So, y'all have a good night, and we'll catch you the next